Hey everybody, welcome back to Twin Cherry Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to install XBSX2 on your Xbox Series S or X using developer mode, which is my favored mode when it comes to using emulation on Xbox. Xbox Series consoles are absolutely fantastic for emulation, and especially with PS2 games, which can be quite troublesome on the PC. There's been quite a few games that I've tested on the Xbox Series S that have worked fantastically. I just recently finished a playthrough of The Getaway, and you can check my review of that on the channel. I'll leave a link in the description down below. But with that being said, it is absolutely fantastic. I've been using XBSX2 recently, and XBSX2 is a new kid on the block as far as emulation is concerned, released in July, and it does have a focus on the Xbox, which is really good. It's a breakaway from PCSX2, just like XBSX2, designed with the Xbox in mind. Apparently, the only difference I can see between XBSX2 and XBSX2, as you can see the menus here, they do look exactly the same, is that XBSX2 has retro achievements enabled. So if that's something that you're into, then I'd highly recommend checking out my install video for XBSX2. A link will be in the description down below. Now, for this video, you're going to need a couple of things. Obviously, an Xbox with dev mode enabled. If you don't have dev mode enabled, you can check out my tutorial. Again, a link will be in the description to the dev mode tutorial on how to activate dev mode and be able to install as many emulators as there are available. You're also going to need Durango FTP and Safe Exit, which I'm going to show you how to install in this video. You're going to need a USB hard drive. You can run it from the SSD, and I'm going to show you how to do it, but there's not much room on the Xbox Series S to have as many games as I like to have on my hard drive. And you're also going to need a BIOS, PlayStation 2 BIOS, and I cannot show you where to get the BIOS from because it is technically illegal. You're supposed to dump the BIOS from a PlayStation 2 console. You can check out shadier parts of the internet if you are that way inclined. But I can't condone it or show it on this channel because YouTube will strike this video down hard. With all that being said, let's just get into the meat of the installation video, shall we? I've been talking for too long already. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to download the stuff that we need. We're going to need XBSX2 itself, and if you click the link in the description down below, it will take you to this page, which will be the release page for XBSX2. The latest one, as time of recording, is the 27th of October 2022. There may be a much more up-to-date version by the time you watch this video. Scroll down and look for this latest symbol here to make sure you're getting the latest release, and click the bit in Assets where it says XBSX2.msix. Click it and it will download it to your computer. The next thing we're going to need is Durango FTP. Now, what we're going to want to do here is not get the latest version. We're going to scroll down to the bit where it says Stable, click Assets, and we want the Durango FTP-release.zip. Click that, and that will download that for you. Once we've got that, you're going to want to click another link in the description down below. So there's 3 links, the XBSX2 one, the Durango FTP link, and the link to Safe Exit. They'll bring you to this page here, which will take you to a Dropbox for Safe Exit. And we're going to want to click download on that. Now, Safe Exit is important because we need it to exit out of dev mode back into retail mode without deleting all of our emulators and settings and programs and things like that. So once we've got all of them downloaded, it's now time to install all of this onto our Xbox in dev mode. So let's go back to our Xbox in developer mode and go to the bit where it says remote access in the bottom right corner. Then we're going to go to the bit where it says remote access settings. Press A and make sure that Xbox Device Portal is enabled. Once that's enabled, we're going to make note of that IP address that is in the bottom right corner. Go back to our browser and type in that IP address. So that's https, all lowercase, //192.168.0.100:11443. It'll be different for yours. And that'll bring you to the Xbox Device Portal. Now, sometimes it will come up and say that it isn't secure. Click Advanced and make sure that this page comes up. So now we're going to want to install Durango FTP. So first we go to the folder where we downloaded Durango FTP2. Right click, click Extract All, and extract Durango FTP. And we can delete that if you want to, keep things clean. And we can also do the same for Safe Exit as well. And we're ready to install these programs onto our Xbox. So click Add, click Browse. We'll find Durango FTP-release. Click the AppX bundle file here, the Universal FTP server. Click Next, and then it'll come up with choose any necessary dependencies. Click Browse, click Dependencies, and we want the x64 version. Click that, and we're going to install all 3 of these. So double click 1, click Browse again, double click 2, click Browse again, double click number 3, browse again. Now sometimes these don't appear at the bottom here. That means that you've took too long, so refresh the page and try again. Click Start, and that's going to install everything onto the Xbox. Once it says package successfully registered, click Done, go back to the Xbox, and as you can see, Durango FTP is now on the Xbox. So what we're going to want to do here now, it's on the Xbox, is press the Select key, as I call it, or the 2 squares on the Xbox controller. Go to a bit where it says View Details and change it from an app to a game. Press B to back out. We go back to the Xbox device portal, click Add, click Browse, find Safe Exit folder, install the MSIX bundle file, click Next, and then we're going to want to install the dependencies. So once again, we go to the Safe Exit folder when we browse, Dependencies, number 1. As you can see, the dependency has not appeared here, so we're going to have to click out of this. We took too long. Refresh the page, click Add, Browse, go back to the Safe Exit folder, click Safe Exits Install, click Browse again, go to Dependencies, Dependency 1, there it is, Dependency 2, there it is, Dependency 3, 1, 2, 3, all 3 are there, click Start, and now we're going to install that. Now when we go back to our Xbox, Safe Exit is installed and we can safely exit out of dev mode and keep all of our settings and apps installed. And the final thing we have to do is to install XBSX itself. So if we go back to our downloads folder, find the XBSX2.msix, double click that. There are no dependencies for this, so we just click Start, and there we go, it's installing, package done. We go back to our Xbox, and as you can see, all 3 apps are there. And with XBSX, you're going to want to press the select button again, or the 2 squares, whatever you want to call it. Go to View Details and change that from an app to a game. Now, what I like to do here before launching this is I like to just restart the console just to make sure that all the apps and everything, all the settings and stuff are permanent. Because sometimes when you change it from a game to an app, if you don't restart it, it will switch it back to an app, and that can be problematic when it comes to adding files and things like that. So I'm going to restart the console. That appears to be all nicely installed there. So let's just make sure we go to Durango FTP, press the select button, View Details, and it's a game. View Details, and it's a game. So we can now launch XBSX2, but we've still got a little bit to go before we can start playing games. So everything seems to be looking fine there. I'm going to go to the settings. Use the RB button to just quickly move across to the directory settings and just make sure that everything's set up to be in the local state folder here. Now here, as you can see, it says local state at the end where the BIOS, the cheats, and everything is. You can change this to a hard drive by just pressing A and finding your hard drive. So if you press A, go parent directory, parent directory, parent directory, parent directory until you come out to this one. And then E, this is my hard drive here. And I could set up a folder for the BIOS, the cache, the cheats, making all that, and assign everything to run directly from the hard drive. I'm not going to do that because I like to run everything from the Xbox itself, but that's something you can do if the local state doesn't work. Some people pointed out sometimes you get what's known as a dev mode brick, where this local state folder doesn't appear in the FTP server. So fingers crossed we don't get that this time. So I'm going to exit XBSX2. I'm now going to launch Durango FTP so I can add my BIOS, and I'll add a couple of games as well, just so I can show you the games running off the SSD as well as my hard drive. So in Durango FTP, you want to go to allow anonymous on, or you can set a username and password if you want to make it more secure. But you're going to go down to the bit where it says start and click start. Now we move back to our Windows computer, and on the computer we're going to open File Explorer. I'm going to type ftp://xbox/ and press enter. That will then open up our Xbox, as you can see on the left here. These are the files within my Xbox. So if I click local folder, this will then show me all of the apps that are on, and I'm looking for the one that has XBSX2 in it. Now, as you can see on the right, here, it says 4829trw.xbsx2. So that's how I know that that is where XBSX2 is. And I'm going to want to double click that. I'm going to click the bit where it says local state. And here is where I'm going to be dropping in memory cards, BIOS, game settings, things like that. Anything that I need to put in here. If I find texture files, I can pop them in there. We're going to be looking at that in a future video. Anything that I need to copy over to make this one smoother is going to be put in here. The most important one being the BIOS. So click the BIOS section, and I have my PlayStation 2 BIOS here. And like I said already, I cannot show you where to get any of this BIOS from because it is technically illegal and YouTube will strike the video down. So you're going to have to source the BIOS for yourself. So the BIOS has been popped in. Next, we're going to add a game to our Xbox SSD. Like I said, this isn't something I do often. What I like to do is I like to play my games running off of a hard drive. And I'm going to show you after this how to set up your hard drive for maximum efficiency with your PlayStation 2 games, your ISOs, .bins, .q files, things like that. But if you want to play it off the Xbox SSD itself, if you have an Xbox Series X with a terabyte hard drive and you want to use some of that space, or you've got the expansion card, what you can do is if you right click in this folder where I had all the XBSX2 important stuff, click new, click folder, and then just make a games folder. Then double click that so you go in and then transfer one of your games. So I'm going to go to my PlayStation 2 folder where I have my BIOS and my ROMs on my hard drive. As you see, I already have them all on my hard drive already. So we're going to put on one of the games here. I've been watching the TV show 24, so we'll put the 24, the video game on. And it does take quite a bit of time to transfer these files over as well, because it is a very slow FTP connection. Even though both my console and my PC are plugged in via Ethernet, it's still going to take 8 minutes. So I have to wait for that. And we're also going to copy over Grand Theft Auto Vice City as well. Okay, so once that's done, we close Durango FTP, and then we launch XBSX2. And we go to Games List, use the RB buttons. We click Add Search Directory to get to this settings cog. Click Add Search Directory, and then we're going to want to go Parent Directory, Parent Directory, Parent Directory, Parent Directory, until we get to this bit here, which shows you, usually my hard drive will be here, but it's currently plugged into my PC, but the hard drive would be on E, but we want this one, the Q folder, and then it might be something else for you, but as long as it says local state at the end and it's the user manager 01, now we find our bit that says games, click on that, and then click use this directory. And it will have scanned for my games. If I press the LB button to go back, both my games are there, 24 the game and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, before I get into this, I just want to go through a couple of settings that I use to make my games run a little bit better for me. These are not important settings, but I like to have the show speed, show FPS, and show all of the UI settings on, status indicators, because I'm a nerd and I just love to look at that while I'm playing the game. If I see a frame dip, I'm like, oh, there's a frame dip there. I wonder what that could have been. I like to analyze all that stuff. You don't have to have any of that on, but what you do need to do is go to the display settings, and when it says renderer, I prefer Direct 3D 12. Some games may run better on Direct 3D 11, and some games, not many, but they will work better on the software. The software one will be the worst of the bunch, but some games just don't run well with Direct 3D, and they do run well with the software. This is especially true in cutscenes. Sometimes cutscenes, you can switch to the software renderer during a cutscene and it'll run smooth, but on Direct 3D, it won't run smooth and you'll have to put up with a bit of lag. Aspect ratio, I always like to put this on 16:9 widescreen because I like the widescreen. You can have 4:3 if you want to go really retro, but I much prefer 16:9. The next thing I like to do is go to the enhancement settings, and internal resolution, I always set this to 1080p, and that's because the screen I have is 1080p, and I found that most games run smooth at 1080p, and I don't really look for playing any games in 4K. I use an Xbox Series S, so 1440p may work, but I know that 4K definitely won't. If you have an Xbox Series X, let me know down in the comments if you do this. You use 4K, let me know what the performance is like, because I wouldn't mind getting an Xbox Series X at some time in the future just to run all my emulation off. Another enhancement that I like to use is FXAA. Now, I don't put this on straight away. I do this on a game-by-game basis. Same with Shade Boost. These are things that I just put on a game-by-game basis, because FXAA could make the game run slower depending on how intensive the game is. Every game is different, and that's why you need to go to PCSX2 Wiki to find out what sort of fixes and stuff when a game doesn't work. But FXAA is beautiful when it works, but sometimes it can hinder performance. Personal preference on that one. The final thing I like to do is to go to the hotkey settings, and I find the one that says open pause menu, press A, and press the start and select key at the same time. So when I press start and select at the same time, it will open the emulator menu. And that's everything I do when playing games. Usually the default settings have been working quite well. So let's just go into the game list and let's launch 24 the game. Another reason I picked this game, as well as me watching the 24 TV series recently, is because this game has been notoriously bad to emulate on RetroArch PCSX2, and even on my PC, which has a RTX 3060, I have to do a bit of fiddling around with the graphics to get it to run good. But on Aether SX2, it finally works, and I'm finally going to be able to play this game in its entirety when I get a bit of time over Christmas. So also what we need to do here is to create a memory card, format our memory card. As you see, it says saving mcd001.ps2, and I'll show you where the memory cards are stored later on. And you see, we're in the game now. It's running at 30 frames per second. Now, when I played this on RetroArch, it wasn't running at anything past 10 frames per second. I have to pop the brightness up a bit on my capture card because it actually looks awful right now. It looks very dark. So let's just pop the brightness up a bit. So there you go, as you can see, running smoothly at 30 frames per second, which is pretty standard for PlayStation 2 games.
In position. Hostile spotted.
And this game was absolute, a bit of frame dip there, but I think that was because the game was trying to do a bit of slowdown or something. But this game is 100% more playable than it was on RetroArch. Okay, we'll just get through this section, and then we'll switch to GTA Vice City and we'll have a quick look at that game, because that's the game more people would want to play than this ridiculously niche game based on a TV series. Yep, running smooth. Press start and select, and that'll bring you to this menu where you can change the game settings and make specific settings just for this game. So you see if it says use the global setting, but say you have a game that you want to use bilinear upscaling or FXAA, or you have specific game hacks to make the game run quickly. So there's this section here called game fixes, which, like I said, you should only use this if you know what you're doing. There's lots of fixes for certain games that have been problems within the community for years. PCSX2 has been out for years, and a lot of games have been fixed, and it's a lot more playable than it was when I first started emulating PlayStation 2 games all those years ago. So to get out of game, press start and select, go to the bit where it says close game, close the game, exit without saving, and there we go. 24 ran great. Let's take a quick peek at Vice City. As you can see, 30 frames per second, which is beautiful for the PlayStation 2 game. Make our way to the hotel here. We're going to skip that because I'm not going to be doing much on this game. But it runs smooth as you like. Beautiful, beautiful. And to get out of the game, once again, we press start and select. Close game. And exit without saving. And if you don't want to use your hard drive to, if you don't want to use your USB hard drive, and if you don't want to use your USB hard drive to, and if you don't want to use your USB hard drive to, if you don't want to use your USB hard drive to play the games, and if you don't want to use a USB hard drive to play the games, then that's it for you. You're good to go. But if you do want to use the USB hard drive, then you're going to need this next part. But if you do want to use your USB hard drive, then you're definitely going to need this next part of the video. So like you can see here, I have my RetroArch hard drive. If I go to properties, you can see it's formatted at NTFS and it is 1 terabyte. I have all my games on here. If I go to this games folder, PS2, N64, all my emulation files and things like that are all backed up on this hard drive. And I use this to play games on my Xbox Series S. So if I go to this PC, and I right click on the RetroArch and I click properties, I'm going to do something that is going to make the games run a lot smoother on the Xbox Series S and X. So if you go to the security section, go to advanced, click advanced, and then click add. Click select a principal. Click advanced again, and then click find now. And we want the one that says all application packages. Click that, click OK. Click OK again, and then give it full control. Then click OK. Then click replace all child object permission entries with inheritable permission entries from this object. Click apply, and then just keep clicking yes and continue until it's finished. Once your USB hard drive is plugged in, go to the games list again. Go over to the settings, click add search directory using the RB button to get to the settings cog. Click add search directory, and once again, parent directory, keep clicking A until we get to this menu. And then E is the hard drive, press that. Find your folder with your PlayStation 2 games, mine's in ROMs, and click use this directory, and I'll start adding all your games. Once that's completed, press LB, and there, as you can see, all of my games have been added to my grid. And just to show you that everything runs fine on this, we're going to load up another game directly off my hard drive, just real quickly. Another game that usually has a lot of problems on the RetroArch version. I'm going to load up The Punisher, which had a ton of glitches. Now, The Punisher doesn't run as fast as it does on my PC, but it runs and it is playable. Like on RetroArch, I couldn't even get the screen to fit correctly. I couldn't get it to overscan perfectly. But here we're in 1080p, and I can actually get past the loading screen this time. Okay, so as you can see, we are kind of running at 48 frames per second, so it's not completely smooth as I'd like. We're back to 60 here, but I'm guessing we're going to have some frame drops throughout it. So to combat that, I'm going to press start and select. I'm going to go into the game settings, and I'm going to find the section where it says, let's go to some graphical stuff, enhancements, internal resolution. I'm just going to turn it down, 720p maybe. Okay, let's go back to the game. And we've already smoothed the gameplay up a bit. Let's talk to this lady.
Thanks, man.
For what?
No, please.
So we're still kind of at the HD, it's 720p.
You killed him.
But if we go down, this game, if anyone has seen my video with the glitches, I'll put a bit of footage on there now of what used to happen in this game when I played it on the Xbox Series S. But now it is running extremely smooth.
Who runs this place?
And it makes me happy because it's one of the games, along with 24, that I want to play and complete over Christmas. I remember playing this when I was younger, but
Damage runs it. He's up on the 4th floor.
sorry, I got really into it. And I remember playing this when I was younger and really enjoying it. And I'm a big fan of The Punisher in general, so I'm really hoping that I can
Locked.
finally get to play this through in my adult
Hey, Maurice,
years.
where the hell are you?
Beautiful. I just want to pick up a weapon because that's when the slowdown usually happens, is when we start using weapons. So if we can still maintain 60 frames per second with gunfire, then it's fine. Oh yeah, everything's running smooth. That's fantastic. It's beautiful. Pick up some guns. Fantastic. Press start and select. Close the game. Now one more thing we're going to go through before we finish here. Now one more thing I'm going to go through before I finish here is to show you where some of the important files are on XBSX2. So if you want to install the latest update for XBSX2, then you're going to have to uninstall it and reinstall with the new version. And you're going to want to save all your save games and settings and things like that. So if we go to FTP Xbox again, with our FTP server on, go to local folder, find our XBSX2 folder again, go to local state, and here is where all the important settings are, like BIOS, game settings. What we're going to want to do when we get our new version of XBSX2, when their latest release comes out, is uninstall it, but first we're going to make backups and save these memory cards in the local state to keep all of our saved games. Obviously the BIOS folder so that you can keep your BIOS if you don't have them already saved to a hard drive somewhere. And the game settings and the .inis. You want to copy it and move all this to another folder and then copy it all back over when you reinstall. And that's it for this video. It's been a long install process. I'm going to be doing a couple more videos on XBSX. I'm going to be checking out some HD texture packs, which really excites me. If anyone knows what you can do with HD texture packs on Dolphin, I'd be very, very excited if they can do something similar on PCSX2. I don't know how it's going to affect performance on the Xbox Series S, so that's something I'm looking forward to deep diving into. I'm also going to be taking a look at the top 10 PlayStation 2 games and how they run on XBSX. Now, if you've liked this video and you found this video helpful, then please hit that like button. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. And the last thing we're going to show you is just safe exit. We're in dev mode. We click safe exit, and that will bring us back to the retail mode of our Xbox. And then when we go back into dev mode, all of our settings and stuff should be there. Thank you very much for taking the time for watching. If you're still watching and you're still at the end of this video, according to my analytics, nobody is here at this stage of the video. So if you are, please give me a thumbs up in the comments, or just say, what word? Just say ruler, or say ruler's probably, they'll probably think I'm trying to start an uprising if you say ruler. Just say pencil in the comments section down below. And as always, don't do anything I wouldn't do.